Thank you for joining me. I'm Juan, lead trader and founder of Prosperitrade. In this video, I want to discuss Senseonics. So this will be our third video that we've done on Senseonics. One going back in March 16th, I believe our first one was. And I was bullish back then, and I'm still bullish now. So Senseonics stocks, the reason it attracted me is because of the success with Dexacom. Dexacom is a company that does continuous glucose monitoring. So Senseonics, they're available in Europe, they're available in the United States. But the reason I like Senseonics, because I feel like they have a lot of potential, a lot of upside, and they're really ambitious with what they want to do in 2023 and 2024. So let's kind of look at Senseonics and compare it to a few of the other companies. So Senseonics, compared to Guardian, Dexcom, Freestyle, and Medtron, these are some of the other competitive companies. So the sensor life for Guardian is 6 days, Dexacom is 10, and they have the G6. They're currently coming out with the G7, Freestyle, which is 14, and the SENS is 180 days. So that means that their sensor, what they place in, doesn't have to be replaced for 180 days, compared to Guardian, 6 days, compared to Dexacom, 10 days, and Freestyle, 14, and Medtron is 7 to 14. So they all have alarms. They all connect to a phone or some sort of device which monitors your glucose and lets you know where you're at. The biggest thing with, and the biggest knock that I have with Senseonics is collaboration. So what is collaboration? So collaboration requires that you prick yourself, meaning you poke your finger, get some of that blood, and enter the blood or do a blood glucose level on your blood, and then enter that in the transmitter. And the reason for that is because the blood glucose is going to be more accurate directly from your blood. The device, this transmitter, measures here, which is considered the interstitial fluids, and the blood glucose is coming from down here. So there's going to be a little difference in accuracy, and that's the reason for the collaboration. So you get directly the collaboration, the blood level from the blood directly, enter it, and then it allows, it gives you a more accurate reading as you collaborate. So why is that important? Because you have to prick yourself. You have to, and that's the whole point of the continuous glucose monitoring. You don't want to keep pricking yourself. So with the Dexacom, there's no collaboration. With the Freestyle, there's no collaboration. With the SENS, there's collaboration initially 4 times to 2 to 12 hours, and then every 12 hours. So that's not that great. That's the only knock on the SENS. It's great that their sensor can be placed in for 180 days, as opposed to replacing it every 10 days. But having to prick yourself twice a day is not that great. Now, the difference of the blood glucose and reading directly from the blood and the interstitial fluid is the MARD, or the mean absolute relative difference. And anything under 10% is considered good and accurate. So the SENS has an 8.8%, so they're actually the most accurate, but they also collaborate themselves. They do collaboration more than anyone else. So collaboration for the G5 was required, for the G6 is not. Medtronics, yes. Freestyle, no. SENS, yes. How often should you calibrate? Every 12 hours. No collaboration. Every 12 hours, none. Every 10 to 14 or 12 hours. Can you dose insulin off the sensor reading? Yes, yes, yes. Can you take Tylenol? Yes. How often should the sensor be changed? Here, every 90 days. So the SENS, you don't have to change it out to every 90 days, as opposed to Dexacom every 10 days. So, and this is another knock on it. Is it easy to insert? Yes. For Dexacom, you can do it yourself. And SENS is a medical procedure. But it only takes a few minutes, and you only have to do it every 90 days. So that is the difference. So Dexacom 6, they're currently coming out with Dexacom 7, which is going to be even smaller sensor. an all-in-one sensor, applicator, and transmitter. It's going to be all-in-one. It's going to only be a 30-minute warm-up. It's going to be interoperable with your insulin delivery device, meaning it can administer insulin as needed according to the readings. Dexacom is definitely a fierce competitor with Senseonics. So Senseonics, the great thing is, this is the device that goes in the interstitial fluids, and that's why it's a simple procedure. And this is what you wear. Now, the great thing with the EverSense, you can take this off if you're going to go swimming, if you're going to work out or do anything like that. And it has a mobile app that you can use with it. Now, this is why I'm bullish with Senseonics, you know, with their current news. So 2021, they currently had news, and it caused a spike off their news. You see here, they announced that they've had positive feedback, positive results with their 180-day testing. So they currently use a 180-day device in Europe, which is not the same as FDA approval. FDA approval is more difficult to obtain. But this spike was because of positive news regarding their 180-day device. So they caused a large spike, and that was just based off of the news. And every research, everything I read so far is pointing towards them being able to get FDA approval pretty soon here in the United States. So they're going to get their FDA approval for the 180-day, and that was their 2021 goal. After that, they're going to start testing and getting ready to implement in 2023 their EverSense 365. So if the news spike just off of positive news, positive results, positive testing off their 180 days, what about the 365? So this is ways to go, and that's why I like it now, because you're getting in early. It's low price right now, and that means it's less risk. So when I look at the chart here, it had this spike, and it's coming back down to support level of 310. So if you can get in below 310 and 250, I believe it's a good price. It's a great price. We did the stock back in March when it was trading at $2, $2.40. So that's a great entry. So if you can get in anywhere there, 250, between 250 and 3, that's a great price to get in. You know, your risk is, to me, if it goes all the way down to $1, then, you know, obviously there's something wrong with the company. If it drops that much, then they're probably having some issues getting FDA approval, and we would have to reevaluate. But there's not as much risk because it's so cheap right now. So it had this spike based off of that news. So once they get FDA approval, I believe they're going to get another big spike, possibly test all-time high. And if you want to take profit then you can take profit then. But if you want to hold on for the long term, for the long game would be 2023, their first goal. They would be the first company to have a continuous glucose monitoring in for 365 days. So 2023 and 2024 are their goals. They want to have no transmitter. They want to have the glucose monitoring in for 365 days. They're going to reduce collaboration. They're talking about possibly partnering up with companies that can also administer insulin as needed. So there's a lot of positive that's going to go with that. So you see here kind of the device, how it looks. It's small. Right now, this is better looking than the G6, but the G7 will be smaller. It'll be the size of a nickel. So their 2024 Freedom system that they want to push is going to be 365 days. So that means just once a year, you have to get this inserted by a physician or a mid-level provider, and it's a 5-minute procedure, and that's it. And then it monitors the glucose for the whole year. So that was my update on Senseonics. I'm still bullish. They had some positive news. I strongly believe everything that I've read seems positive. Anything can happen, but everything I read seems positive that they will get the 180-day FDA approval very soon. And then after that, they're going to start testing and getting ready for the 365, which would be the 2023. And, I think if you can hold on that long right now, getting in at the price points that I mentioned, I think you have potential for a lot of upside. So their market cap is over $1 billion. And, as opposed to Dexacom, which is a $38 billion market cap. So there's a big difference in market cap. There's a lot more shares outstanding for Senseonics. But I still think that if they reach all their goals, they definitely have a good upside potential. We can't do a DCF or intrinsic value because there's not enough data. But I believe that there's a lot of potential, a lot of upside, and the risk the reward outweighs the risk. So that's why I'm bullish. If you get in initially at the price points that we talked about in March, you're in great position. You're green right now. But if it dropped like crazy because they didn't get FDA approval, you're talking about maybe losing $1, $1.50, as opposed to Dexacom. If we look at the chart here really quickly, so if you look at Dexacom is a great company. They're gonna be successful. They're a great company, but you see here, like it was trading at 417, then dropped all the way to 300. But this was, kind of affected by just the overall market. And right now they've made their way back up all the way to 403. But you see these big 427 down to 300. So this is like great entry. I mean, if you can get in, I would say anywhere in 310, 311, if it ever drops back down. And I believe right now, if you look at the market, the overall macro of the market, the talking of inflation for 2023, it's good that the Feds kept the interest rate at 0, but the overall market, I think we're due for a correction. So this is a company you might want to put on your watch list. If it drops down to 310 and anything below that, if you can get in, I would say anywhere below 310 and 250. I think it's a great company, great stock to hold. Even though I have a position in Senseonics, if it dropped into these levels, I would consider getting a position in Dexacom. So that's it. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to hit the subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you, and see you on the next video.